I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, not so long ago, we found our hero, Edward, a wealthy businessman taking a stroll along the dock of the bay. Edward had done very well for himself in recent years and was living rather handsomely. Well, during his stroll, he stumbled upon a young boy, maybe 10 or 11 years old, who was crying. And he approaches him hesitantly and says, "Young boy, what's your name?" And the boy replies, "Well, my name's Jeffrey." Edward says, "Jeffrey, my name's Edward. It's nice to meet you. Tell me, Jeffrey, why are you crying?" Jeffrey goes on to explain to Edward his current living situation. His father had walked out a number of years before, and his mother had fallen terribly ill. In her illness, she was unable to work, meaning that she could no longer afford rent or groceries, medicine to help her get better. They had recently faced an eviction notice, and things were looking very poor for Jeffrey and his mother. Now, Edward, being the businessman that he was, realized that he had the financial capability to solve this family's problems entirely. However, being the working man that he was, Edward always believed that people should earn their keep. So looking out into the harbor, Edward wondered. And then seeing a sailboat about 100 yards off, he came up with an idea. And he said to Jeffrey, "Jeffrey, I want to make a deal with you. You see that sailboat about 100 yards out into the harbor? Well, if you can swim out there and climb up to the top of the mast and wave to me, I'll write you a check right now for $1 million. And Jeffrey, of course, was blown away. I mean, $1 million. It was more money than a child his age could even begin to fathom. The implications meant his mother could afford medicine. Groceries would be available. He could start going back to school. They wouldn't be evicted. Things seemed like they might be looking up. So Jeffrey quickly took off his shirt and kicked off his shoes and dove into the harbor and began swimming out towards the ship. And once he made it about 25 or 30 yards out, he turned around and swam back. And Edward said, "Jeffrey, what's wrong? Why didn't you finish the swim? You were doing very well." And Jeffrey says, "Well, you see, because my mom is sick and we can't afford groceries, I haven't had anything to eat in 3 days." And Edward says, "Oh, of course." So he gives Jeffrey $20 and says, "Go, get yourself a good meal. Meet me back here tomorrow morning. Same place, same time, and we'll give you another shot." So the day passes, and the next morning we see our heroes, Edward and Jeffrey, at the dock of the bay. The sailboat still about 100 yards out. Edward says, "Okay, Jeffrey, same deal. Ready to give it a shot?" Jeffrey looks better this morning. He's got some color in his cheeks. He's got a little more energy about him. He was well fed. And he said, "Yes, Edward, I think I can do it." So he takes off his shirt and kicks off his shoes and dives into the water, and he's making better pace this time. Makes it about 40 yards out, almost halfway, and then turns around and swims back. And Edward says, "Jeffrey, what's wrong? Did the food from yesterday not do enough for you?" And he said, "Well, Edward, as you know, we're about to be evicted, and they shut off the heat to our house last night. So unfortunately, it was too cold that I wasn't able to get any sleep." Edward says, "Oh, of course. Well, Jeffrey, I'll give you $100 this time. Go to a hotel and get a good night's sleep, get another good meal, and tomorrow morning, same place, same time, we'll give you one more shot. But tomorrow's going to be the last time, because tomorrow evening, I'm leaving the country on business for a few months, so I don't believe we'll see each other again." Jeffrey nods and agrees. So some time passes, and we see our heroes, Jeffrey and Edward, once more on the dock of the bay the next morning. Same place, same time, same deal. And Jeffrey looks better this morning. He's got even more color in his cheeks. He's got a pep in his step. He looks ready. He looks confident. And Edward says, "Well, Jeffrey, you look better. Same try, same deal, same go. You can make it out to that boat. 100 yards out. Climb to the top of the mast and wave to me from the top. I'll write you a check for $1 million. Jeffrey nods excitedly and takes off his shirt and kicks off his shoes and dives into the water, and this time he paces himself. He makes it out 30 yards, 60 yards, 90 yards, 100 yards, climbs up the side of the ship, scurries up the mast and makes it to the top and starts waving to Edward from the top. And Edward begins celebrating. He says he's made it. Jeffrey's done it. I can help this child. I can protect his family. But as Jeffrey's waving, he slips, falls, hits the deck. But he's okay, because Jeffrey was used to hardships.